Shares in the satellite company Eutelsat were up 20% on Monday. The French competitor to Starlink has had a strong run of gains as European officials grow increasingly distrustful of Elon Musk. Musk wrote on X that Ukraine's front line would collapse if Starlink were shut off. Now the Polish foreign minister says his country will look for alternatives, and that includes the potential of a contract. So a contract between Starlink and the Italian government is looking perhaps in doubt. Eva Berneke is the CEO of Eutelsat. She's with me from Washington. Exactly, look, I'm going to put it in blunt terms, but how can Eutelsat act as a replacement or alternative to Starlink?
Yes, so Eutelsat Group is the only other operating LEO constellation in the world next to Starlink. So today we do provide capacity to governments and companies across the world. We don't do consumer business as does Starlink, but we do provide guaranteed capacity in low Earth orbit to both governments and to enterprises, including in Ukraine. We do has as good a coverage and a strong performance across Europe. We have less capacity because we've got a bit fewer satellites than Starlink, but we do actually have a fully operational network across Europe, including Ukraine.
Are you going around either overtly or covertly saying, you know, you do need a second option, psst, we are available, you should think about using us as a European alternative? Is it as blunt as that?
I think we all can be blunt about a good need for competition and having choice and alternatives. I think in connectivity world, just like you see in the telecom world, you typically have multiple operators for customers to choose in between. So I'm quite open and very positive around providing different solutions into a competitive market. So yes, by all means, customers should have multiple choices, including for Ukraine. So it is a very open call for good competition and multiple solutions.
The way in which your phone has been ringing off the hook shows my age here. Phones don't ring, but you know what I mean, in quite that way. The way in which you've been, the inquiries that you're getting, where are they coming from? What sort of companies are asking about what?
A lot of companies have been asking for multiple solutions because most of the distributors that we work with, we don't go direct to consumer as does Starlink. So we work with the ecosystem and customers out there. It could be telcos, it can be specialized distributors for aero or for government and for military. And one of them is we're working closely with around Ukraine. They want alternatives. They want multiple solutions. Sometimes they want to combine them. Sometimes they want to combine them with existing satellite capacity in geostationary orbit or others. So they actually want alternatives. I'd say the calling off the hook over the last week, that has been a lot from Europe, who wants to see how far we are, how fast we can provide alternatives. We're starting to pull out or change the offering in Ukraine. So a lot of those have been for more government or military uses across Europe. And I think a lot of Europeans are waking up today to the need for multiple alternatives.
Just looking at your share ownership structure, because Eutelsat's a very different animal compared to, say, Starlink. And it does have a high proportion of public ownership and also state, public in the widest sense of a public investment bank investment. Do you think that gives you a different outlook, a strategic outlook for a goal of what the company is designed to do than, say, for example, a purely commercial operation?
Yes, I do think that our governance and ownership structure is also a strength. We have multiple quite different owners, our largest shareholder being Bharti Telecom, which is a large Indian and African telecom operator. And this integration into the telecom world is quite important for us. But then the next two are two European states, with France being one and the UK being the other one, who also are large shareholders. But then we also have one of the world's largest shipping companies And again, that's a potential customer because the maritime world is one of the big customer segments for satellite connectivity. So I actually think that our shareholder structure is providing a lot of input to me, both in the integration into the telecom world, the sovereign interest in this space, but also from an important customer segment as the maritime.
I'm grateful you joined me, and I'm very glad that the line held up between Washington and me here. It was somewhat embarrassing if it hadn't, since what we're talking about. Ma'am, thank you very much indeed for joining us from Washington, D.C. I'm grateful.
Thank you very much.